welcome to Is This Good? The show where we boldly, conclusively, and scientifically decide what things in this big wide world are good. I'm Matt Austin, and with me, as always, is production powerhouse Jason Doyle.
Hello.
Hi, JD. Lovely to have you with us today. And our guest is the author of 3 books, including the forthcoming Prehistoric, which chronicles the early days of the Toronto Raptors. He's a writer with bylines in GQ, The Atlantic, The New York Times. He's a producer and co-host of The Raptor Show with Will Liu on Sportsnet. And thanks to a feature he wrote, I learned my old Hot Wheels cars are worth millions, JD.
Wow.
He's Steven LeBron on Twitter, but in real life, it's Alex Wong. Alex, welcome to Is This Good?
Hey, what's going on, man? Pleasure is all mine. Like I told you guys before we started rolling, super excited. Love the concept of this podcast, so excited to dive into it today.
Good. We love when our guests compliment us off the top. That means that we can just say, all right, join us next week and keep moving. I was joking, but I was actually really interested in that Hot Wheels article you wrote because, I mean, I guess I should have just assumed people will collect anything. But do you think my old Hot Wheels, which I did have a ton of in a very cool carrying case, most of them are from, I would say, 1987 to 1989. Do you think I should go to North Carolina, visit my good-for-nothing nephews who didn't give a shit when I gave them to them, and take them back and sell them?
Yeah, no, I think you and anyone else who thinks they collected anything growing up should go see their good-for-nothing nephews wherever they're located in the world, because it seems like now you talk about Hot Wheels, you talk about, I don't know, sports cards, you think about just a general trend of vintage, everything old is valuable again. Like, I've been thinking about digging very deep into my parents' basement to just find my old CDs that I used to collect back in the day, or like DVDs. Like, these things sound so, like, you know, out of trend now, but I don't know, I feel like everything that we had growing up in the 80s and 90s is just coming back around again. So that's a long way of for me to tell you yes.
Yeah, CDs are selling. I don't know if you're like, now that's what I call music volume 4. Or let me give you a Canadian throwback, a Big Shiny Tunes.
Exactly.
Did you ever have any Big Shiny Tunes?
I love those. You know, I was a big hip hop guy growing up, and you know, it's funny because like De La Soul recently, that was the biggest news that their catalog is finally on streaming, and it's so funny. And I guess on every podcast I end up talking about how I drive a 2001 Honda Civic, but like I still drive an '01 Honda Civic with a CD player, and like I actually didn't understand what the excitement was that everybody was about the streaming, because I still play their CDs in the car, and I've been doing that for like the last 20 years. So you know, CDs have always been in, at least, you know, in my sphere.
So wait, are you the only owner of this 2001 Honda Civic?
Yeah, so I guess the origin story of this Civic is this is the first car that I got that my parents graciously bought for me in high school. And, you know, I guess it was passed along to my mom at some point, and then my mom got a new car, and then now it's been passed back down to me. I always joke that the next time it breaks down, I'm just going to leave it on the DVP in Toronto, and my mom always freaks out, so I'm not going to do that, but, you know, actually I'm not sure. I might just check the Uber and just get out of there, yeah, because there's no value left in that car, yeah.
Except for the De La Soul.
Yeah, I was going to say that 3 Feet High and Rising, even though it's on streaming now, like the CD version is super valuable because all the samples aren't even on the streaming version.
That's right. I was actually having this exact conversation yesterday with a friend who was telling me about how, I guess because of the sampling and the clearing rights, because back then it was kind of like the Wild West, right? Like in the late 80s type. They were just, you know, Prince Paul was just sampling everything and didn't care about clearances and stuff. So, yeah, if you ever see a Honda Civic just on the side of the DVP, go in, grab Sound Bombing 1, the first Redman album, and De La Soul. I think that's the rotation right now. Yeah.
I want to talk Prehistoric. So this is your book that's coming out. First of all, I should say it's about the inaugural season of the Toronto Raptors and sort of the effect that the team has had on the city. So first of all, when's it coming out? And is there like a general thesis to the book?
Yeah, you know, I'm super excited about this book that I worked on the last couple of years. It's currently slated for an October 24th release. You know, for me, you know, having grown up in Toronto, you know, originally born in Hong Kong, but moved here in Toronto in 92, you know, I've been a basketball fan growing up. You know, you hear about the Dream Team, you hear about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, but of course, it's very different. I think a lot of kids can relate when your own hometown or the town that you live in gets its own team. So like I've had these bits and pieces of memories about the Raptors growing up. Obviously people talked a lot about their name, their logo. Talked a lot about what those early years were like at the Sky Dome. The one time that they beat the 72-10 Bulls. So for me, this was kind of my most personal project in terms of putting together a book. Like I really wanted to go back and really tap into talking to people who were involved in the organization, the players, and everyone involved in that first year, and really pull all of those stories together. And I think the overall thematic thing that came out of this was like a lot of these players from the first year, people might remember the Damon Stoudemire's, Tracy Murray, Jean Tabak, like all these players. I was able to track a lot of them down and talk to a lot of people even in the front office and working in the different like marketing department, game ops department, original members of the dance pack. All of these people still keep in touch and they have reunions every couple of years. And like for me, like the thing that came out of it was just there's just this special bond when you start something from the ground up. And that was really something that really resonated with me by interviewing all these people in the book and recognizing that, hey, you might look at that first year of the Raptors team. They won like 20 games, 21 games, but to me, there's more to it than that story. It's about this group of people who came from these different places together to kind of really help build and lay the groundwork for what the Raptors ended up becoming and who they still are today.
Sounds great. I'm sure you'll be back on No Dunks to talk about that when it comes.
Yeah. I actually just listen. I actually did that off the top of my head. I gotta, I gotta say I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that because like I'm definitely not in book promo mode yet. I cannot wait to be on book promo mode and just recite all of that on every single podcast just to make my publisher happy. Yeah.
I've already got you slated in October 23rd.
Okay, well let's prepare you for book promo season. I have a feeling that the number one question you're going to get is, did you interview Drake?
Oh yeah, no. So because the book is so condensed in this like time capsule of like really going back to that period between like 93 when the NBA announced that they were awarding a franchise to Toronto and going through all the way to the inaugural season, I didn't get a chance to interview Drake, but good thing I got good PR here. I'm ready. One of the best interviews I was able to get was I actually got to talk to Samuel L. Jackson, who was a fan during the first season because he was filming Long Kiss Goodnight in Toronto, had a relationship with Isaiah Thomas, who was a general manager at the time. So that was probably one of the most fun interviews. Like I want to say the players and the people involved in the organization, they definitely gave me more in-depth stuff, really personal stories. But in terms of a name drop, I think I'll be rolling out the Samuel L. Jackson name drop all throughout the promo tour.
I didn't really know that Samuel Jackson was that connected to the Raptors, but
yeah,
I
there
guess
we
that's
go.
Why
I get so excited when people say they didn't know this bits and pieces because I really think there's a lot of cool stories in there that people are going to find out. And the funniest thing, if I could just say this really quickly about Samuel Jackson, is obviously A-list actor. You go through the publicist. My friend Elaine Kwan helped me set that up. You know when you get like a calendar invite, like for a Zoom, for a podcast. Usually it's a little half hour. Block off a half hour. I was given a 5-minute block on his calendar. The calendar invite was 2 p.m. to 2:05 p.m. You don't understand how thin that was. The thin blue line, man. You guys can't believe it. And I ended up keeping him for 8 minutes, which that's I did very well. So
he must have been really having a great time.
Yeah. And the funniest thing is like he picked up the phone. I'm like, yo, Sam, big fan. He's like, yeah, I heard that before, man. Let's get this moving.
Oh man, no time for pleasantries with Samuel L. Jackson. Wow, that's crazy. Do you think they'll retire his Kangol hat to the Raptors?
Listen, man,
of the arena.
I think the Raptors have been clowned for having they have an inaugural season banner there, which I'm not gonna disrespect during my book promo tour. And I think they have like a Bon Jovi, some kind of Bon Jovi banner that was there before.
They do, yeah.
As well. So all of that is interesting. And it's funny you talk about Samuel L. and it ties back to at the beginning you were talking about Hot Wheels and like collecting. So like I mentioned, my friend Elaine she worked with the Raptors during that first year in community relations and like has kept a friendship with Sam. Like last time she traveled to New York, she went to see Samuel L. Jackson, I think was doing a Broadway or off-Broadway play. And like she was like, yo, you should give me something that I can like get Sam to like sign. So like speaking of like collecting stuff, so like I actually could have driven home and gotten either like the Jackie Brown DVD that I have. I could have gone to some used DVD store, found Snakes on a Plane or something like that, and got it signed. But on a Sunday, when I was given just like a half-day notice, I was too lazy and passed up on the opportunity. So I guess that's my question to you guys. Was that good? Yeah. That I passed up on that opportunity. I kind of regret it.
I just like that you have DVDs. This guy loves physical media, JD.
You guys don't understand. You guys don't understand.
If it's circular and has a hole in it, he probably loves bagels.
I might be a hoarder. But that's a whole other conversation. Yeah.
It's nice. Samuel L. Jackson and Elaine must have some lovely in-depth conversations at their 9-minute dinners that they have.
I love how you can only meet up with Sam 8 minutes at a time.
8 minutes at a time. All right, so some quick housekeeping. Please join our Patreon. You know why? Because if you do, you'll be able to hear the full show, and you'll get other fun bonuses and exclusives. Thanks to everyone that's signed up so far. If you don't want to miss out, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. And be part of the P-Hounds. JD, that's the new name I'm calling our Patreon subscribers. What do you think of that?
Well, I love it. I used to be known as a bit of a P-Hound in my day, so I'm into it.
Yeah, come be a P-Hound. If you have questions about the Patreon or want to send me topics for a future show, hit me up at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Could always use some good topics. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Alex, the premise of the show is very simple. It's also genius. Those are not my words. Those are your words. I'm going to give you a topic, and you're going to tell me if it's good. All right, here we go. Betty N. asks, asking a stranger at the coffee shop to watch your stuff when you go to the bathroom. Is this good? So this is a situation we've all been in, and you can tell me, I don't know, where do you write? As I said, you've written 3 books. Do you write at the coffee shop at all?
Pre-pandemic, I probably did. That was part of my routine. Not to be dark about it, but I feel like the last couple of years, all the writing has just been done in my room. And if you want to get specific, usually at my bed as well, not even at my desk. But yes, I am aware of this situation with, when you're out, people have got their laptop, they're out at the coffee shop for the entire day, and someone will come up inevitably and be like, hey, just heading to the bathroom, etc., etc. Can you wash my stuff, right? So this is the premise, but I do have a few questions though. Is it good from the perspective of the person that's asking or the person that's being asked?
Yes, that is a great question.
I think we have to, as we do here, we got to attack it from all angles. We got to break it down to the point where someone listening, I was like, I had at the start, you want them to go, well, I have some questions about this, and then at the end, I want them to say, I never want to hear about this. Again, because they've taken it apart so thoroughly. I should just say, Betty, in her email added, should I ask someone I don't know to watch my things? Should I leave my stuff and hope no one touches it? Or should I pack everything up, go to the bathroom, and then unpack it? To me, those do seem like the 3 options. So first, let's tackle it from, you just had, you're in Toronto, so you just had a medium Tim Hortons, and it just went right through you. Oh, he's got, if you're listening, he's got one in his hands. I mean, such a cliche, but that's fine.
He's got a toque on the top of his head and a Timmy's in a cup.
Yeah, I'm actually recording from Sneaky D's right now as well. Yeah, so.
he's got a plate of King's Crown nachos in front of him. So what do you do in that situation? Do you ask someone? Do you pack it all up, or do you just trust the good of the people and leave it there unattended?
No, number one, never trust the good of the people, and that's, I think, where I want to start. For me personally, like I've always, since growing up, just had a fear that if I leave anything unattended in public, like even for a minute, for 2 minutes, that it's gonna get, something bad is going to happen, and that might just be like some kind of wild, like, catastrophe type thinking, because nothing like that has ever happened to me. But for me, it's like, you think about when you're at a coffee shop, what is the most common item that's gonna be there? It's probably gonna be a laptop, probably gonna be an Apple MacBook. I know those things are very valuable. I think even if you're just taking a quick washroom break, being able to just rely on somebody that is sitting next to you, being able to ask that question and rely on them and trust them to watch that for a 3 to 5 minute period, I think that is something that you should definitely do, versus just getting up and leaving anything unattended. So that's what I'm going with from that perspective. Okay,
well then maybe turn it around. So let's say I have to pee, and then I I look around. So first of all, when you do this, do you look around the shop and try to evaluate who might be a good candidate and what makes a good candidate to watch your stuff?
You know, for me, you know, I feel like a coffee shop is a pretty trustworthy environment. You know, where I feel like anybody that's there, you know, spending half the day there working, you know, we've got the same kind of mindset, mentality, and we've probably been on both sides of this situation before. So I think it's a pretty trustworthy environment in that I don't feel like I need to pick and choose in that situation. But I also feel like on the other side though, if you're the person that's asking, right, which I know you were getting to, there has to be a proper etiquette too. Like if you're coming at somebody and asking them to watch your things, you better only be gone for 5 minutes is the thing, right? Like I think this social contract is gonna expire after like 5 minutes, like a Samuel L. Jackson call type situation. Because I think of scenarios where someone might be like, hey, like I'm just going to the bathroom, I'm just taking a call right now, I gotta step out. Can you watch this? I don't want to be left being responsible for someone else's belongings for longer than 5 minutes. That's my only caveat about this situation.
Well, yeah, of course, we think about the anxiety of our laptop being left unattended, and we don't want that. But what about the anxiety of the person that now has a second job on top of, you know, filling in whatever spreadsheet they were working on? This is a question I had. Would you give me your laptop? Like, would you place it on my table, or would you just leave it on your table and say, like, keep your eye?
Yeah, I think you got to show trust in this situation. You know, if someone is giving you, that 5 minutes and taking on that task, you have to reward them with the trust. So you just leave everything as is on the table. But you got to make a promise that, like, hey, I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes. Listen, situations can happen in the bathroom that can run longer than that. You know, that's also out of your control. But, you know, I feel like a 5 to 10 minute buffer is the most.
Oh, he's already elevated it to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because now he's thinking about dropping a deuce, and he's like, I can't do that. I can't do that in 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you know, listen, like, I just think this speaks more broadly to on kind of like intruding on other people in public type, right? And like when I saw this, the first thing that I thought of was, and I don't know if this is the case anymore, because I feel like now when you go to movie theaters, it's all assigned seating, right? But back in the day when it was like the Wild West, you know, it was like first come, first serve. And like a lot of times at like a full like premiere type screening, first weekend, people would be like, hey, I got 2 friends outside, or I gotta go use the bathroom, I gotta go grab some popcorn, I just got this premium seat, like, you mind, you know, saving these 2 seats for me? And if that was the question that was asked, I would say that it was not good, because like I've never had a good experience when people have been like, can you save these seats? Because now here comes the rush of people coming into the theaters, and you have to tell every single person that these seats are taken when they're not even for you. And I feel like that's way too much responsibility to put on someone else.
Well, I agree with that. Alex, when I post this question on Twitter just so I can get a poll going and see where people are, and someone responded, Julio Devia, and JD, tell me what you think of this. He wrote, honestly, it's crazy that coffee shops don't have a leave your shit here behind the counter while you go piss area. What do you think? Do you think that's workable? Like a little, you get a claim ticket or something?
I think that is totally reasonable. And I think that the etiquette, the social contract, the etiquette should be, you should never ask anybody to watch your stuff, ever.
Oh, so you're packing it up, or you're just...
I'm packing it up and I'm taking it in with me. Because it's just way too much pressure. And whatever, if something were to happen, the person you've asked is suspect number one, or to just simply to blame. Like, hey, what happened to my stuff? Oh, a guy took it. You know, like, what were you supposed to? I'm a 98-pound woman. What did you want me to do? Like, tackle somebody? You know, like, it's just too much pressure.
I think JD has a good point. Like, there are all these other scenarios that could go wrong. Like, there's a lot of downside to this situation. So, you know, for me, I would honestly just have instead of having that counter where people can leave their stuff, you know, maybe let's just make this even more complicated for the coffee shops. Like, they should have on hand these 5-minute contracts that you can sign, that you're responsible for 5 minutes. You know, you hand this contract over to the person next to you, but, you know, at the time that it expires, it's no longer my responsibility. So you're only bounded by that social contract for 5 minutes. Yeah.
I like that.
See, I'm not worried about theft. I'm worried about 2 things. Number 1, that person spilling coffee on my laptop. And number 2, if I'm watching the laptop, I'm worried that I'm going to be the victim of some kind of like TikTok prank where someone gives me their laptop, they go away. Then someone tries to steal it, and I'm like, what do you can't take them. They're like, oh yeah, no, I'm that guy's friend, blah, blah, blah. And then then I keep resisting. And then at the end they say, ha ha, this was just a test to see how loyal you would be to strangers. Congratulations, you passed.
Yeah, this is like a Good Samaritan type test. Why don't they put a slot in the bathroom? Like you guys said, just bring the laptop there. We can put it in some kind of slot while
It's
you
called
take
a laptop. Put it on your lap, man. Like, what else are you doing?
All right, well, before I give you the poll numbers on this one, I mean, this will give you an idea of where we are. John Horn on Twitter replied, "This data reflects why our society is crumbling. Trust is at an all-time low because 64% of people say asking a stranger at the coffee shop to watch your stuff is not good." I mean, that's way higher than I thought. I don't know. JD, if I were to work at a coffee shop for, let's say not a full work day, 8 hours, but realistically 3-4 hours, I'm peeing on the hour because I'm drinking so much. Because I'm respecting the coffee shop's time and paying them for teas and coffees and various biscuits and treats and delights.
100%. That's what you should be doing. You should be, every hour you should be buying the size of coffee that Alex has in his hand right now.
But that means you're going to pee. I mean, I'm going to pee. I know
you're probably going to
peeing
pee
more than I
poo.
do.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
well.
Well, it's coffee. It's a diuretic.
That's why I wear a diaper, because I don't trust anyone.
Maybe we can have some kind of financial incentive in this situation too. Like if you're asking someone to watch your stuff, they should be financially compensated per minute. I also think this speaks to another point too that you guys mentioned. It's like you guys are right though. It's like a lot of us go to these coffee shops, we'll buy a drink, get a muffin or something, and then we're there for 7 hours. Like not to destroy the freelance economy, but I feel like we should be charged by the hour as well for sitting in that coffee shop.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. Very simple. Solitaire. Is this good? So I got this idea for this topic from you, actually, Alex, because you wrote an article in the National Post titled "An Ode to Solitaire. The Old Game Has Found Modern Meaning." So I was curious before you answer the question, like, what inspired you to write that article?
I took a trip to Japan, I want to say, and I was on a really long flight. And I couldn't stop but notice that there was like several people in my aisle just like playing solitaire, whether it was on their iPad or on their phone. And then after that, I started everywhere I went, whether it was on the subway or, just out in public settings. Like I would just keep noticing every week that there were people just playing solitaire. And to me, like solitaire is such a classic game in terms of you think of your classic PC games. Like I think of solitaire, Minesweeper, and pinball, right? Like I thought a lot of people growing up in our generation remember just pulling that up and killing time. So I just set out to try to find cool stories about people who played solitaire, and then like you're reminding me of stories that I've written that I don't even remember now, which is kind of wild. So it's cool, but it's like I remember one of the people in the story, I think like got into a car accident or something like that, and then like he couldn't go anywhere and he was in his room, and he would actually use actual cards to play solitaire as a way to kill time. So that was just the premise. The premise of a lot of my stories is just comes from something that I noticed, and then I try to see if I can spin it into an actual interesting story.
I don't mean to take us completely off track here, but I remember during the coffee shop topic, you said you never leave your stuff anywhere. You always think it's going to be stolen. I was actually wondering, let's say you got your headphones out or your laptop out or an iPad out on an airplane, and then you go to the bathroom. Do you just leave it there?
Oh, yeah, because where are they going to go? They're not going to jump out of the plane with my stuff, So we're in this contained environment.
If DB Cooper's on the plane, you never know.
Yeah. So, like, if you want to play the odds, I'm going to play my odds there and just trust everyone there because we are in that condensed environment. Yeah.
It's true. In a way, the airplane is the safest place to leave anything. But I do always think, like, obviously I'm not worried someone's going to walk off the plane. But I am worried that if someone takes it, I'm never going to know who it is. Unless when we land, like, I kick up such a fuss that, like, security comes on and makes everyone unload their bags. But, like, so if you could steal something on a plane and get away with it, for sure.
No, if you're able to pull it off, all respects to you. Like, here, take my laptop. Go ahead.
You just gotta steal something that's more expensive than the ticket for the
No.
Right.
You deserve it. If you're able to pull off some DB Cooper shit, like, you deserve it. I just gotta tip my cap to you as I walk off the plane without my belongings. Yeah.
Okay, so you're seeing all these people play solitaire, and are you thinking like, God damn, why are these freaks playing solitaire. This is so boring. Or are you, do you have a respect for the game?
Yeah,
do you play the game?
Yeah, I think the challenge for me, like, I actually, out of the 3 games that I mentioned, Solitaire, Pinball, and Minesweeper, like, Solitaire was probably the one that, I did play the most. I remember, interning at a lot of office jobs, in university, and, like, coming out of school when I was working at office jobs. A lot of times, you're just killing time, and, you're on your computer, and, like, you're flipping between internet tabs, hoping your boss doesn't see you checking your fantasy team and stuff, and then in between, you just pull up a game of Solitaire. And I think one of the things, too, for me is, like, I think Solitaire is good because broadly I just think just having something like kind of mindless exercises in general, or mindless hobbies, is really good, especially because I feel like we live in a society, what I call kind of like the LinkedIn mindset, where everybody's just always trying to like rise and grind, and like everything that you do have to have a purpose. You got to be at the gym at 6 a.m. You got to do this and that. You got to be so productive every day. I think we got to swing back the other way and really put more value on just killing time and doing stuff that doesn't have to have some kind of end goal.
I mean, I totally agree with you, because I do like doing mindless things, but I don't think solitaire is mindless enough for me. I don't know if that means I'm stupid. Does this mean that I'm stupid? I am 41 years old. I still don't understand how Minesweeper works. This is my experience with Minesweeper when it was on Windows, 95 or whatever. I would click in a box. It would open like a bunch of boxes around it. And I'd be like, oh, cool. I'm doing good. I'd hit another button, like explode. And I'd be like, I'm sure there is a way for this not to happen, a way to play this with some meaning to it, but I don't know what that is.
No,
it's too complicated for me to figure out.
It's so funny you mentioned that. Like, I used to just pull up Minesweeper and same as you, just try to randomly click like I was like playing blackjack or something, just like play
that's
the
all
odds.
we had, Alex.
Yeah,
at the time.
and then I realized, like, I did realize that like Minesweeper basically is a math problem, right? Like, you click on it and it tells you a number, and basically the number just means like I think within the box that you click, like how many mines there are, like actually within the square of it. This is so hard to describe. I hate describing anything like math related. But like I like never the other problem with like these, you're right though. The other problem with like mindless exercises, like they gotta be really mindless, because even solitaire or Minesweeper does require thought. And for me, I'm similar as you, Matt. Like I never had the patience to actually, play Minesweeper properly to the point where I felt like I was doing something. So again, it goes back to I think we've got to really dive deep into like what mindless is, because like when I think of mindless hobbies, like for myself, like I legit just mean like going on Etsy, like I love vintage, like just browsing vintage for like 3 hours at the end of the night, or going to like my IG Explore page and looking at like Japanese street style pages and looking for like fashion inspiration that I'm never gonna do, because all I do is like wear tees and jeans. It's like stuff that will have no end goal for me, but I feel good that I just wasted 2 hours doing nothing. I think the most mindless exercise for me is just watching poker on TV. Anytime there's poker programming on TV, like I can't take my eyes off it. Like I don't care who's playing or what hand it is. I just love having poker on. Like poker to me is like no stakes sports. Like how when we're like obviously I'm in the sports space, you guys as well. It's like sports, everybody gets so amped up, right? Playoffs, all this stuff, must win games. To me, poker is just watching people play cards, and then that's what I love. So for me, my solitaire is poker.
So a game that for the people playing it has a ton of stakes, but for you,
you
just laugh.
For me,
laugh
it's
at
so
their pain
mindless.
when
Yeah, I'm just a big proponent of like finding stuff. Like not everything that we do has to have some kind of like grand like end goal. We need to distribute our time better, is what I feel like.
That's right. We're being too productive. JD, what would you say if I said solitaire was something people do to get out of boredom that is itself boring? Would you agree with that?
I 100% agree with it. This whole topic is so alien to me because I'm older than you guys. In my high school, people would play solitaire with cards, and I would be like, what the fuck? What is this? What are you doing? And people have tried to teach me, and I'm just like, this seems like the most pointless exercise. And then I would think it was 10 times stupider watching people play solitaire on a screen, like on Windows 95 or whatever. I didn't get
Alex. That's someone that's never won solitaire and had the cards animate where they all.
Yeah, I don't know, man. JD sounded real bitter. Yeah, JD sounded real bitter right now. He never got to that end screen, man. That's how. I feel.
I've never played. I've literally never played a computer solitaire. I've never made it through a game of solitaire. So yeah, you're right. I have never enjoyed the satisfaction of organizing playing cards, which is what I believe.
It
is.
There's something like very peaceful and serene about it. I feel like, once you get to that point, you organize the cards, and like Matt mentioned, you see all the cards just come all out on the finished screen. Like there's something. Right. You feel like you accomplished something. You feel like you accomplished something, well, which I guess goes against my point of it being mindless. So I take back everything that I said in the last 10 minutes.
So JD, I'm guessing your kids have not been swept up in solitaire mania?
Well, not that I know of. It's possible, but I don't think so. I mean,
okay. Well, it's good to know the next generation has something more interesting to do than play.
Hey, man, I'm like, just go twiddle your thumbs. Go be bored. Just daydream. That's my thing. And Alex, I'm the same as you, except my mindless entertainment is home renovation shows. Like,
oh, I love that.
I can't get enough of them. I just and I hate literally everybody on them. People shopping for houses, or I don't like this. The kitchen is too small, whatever. But it's just, I find it so calming and relaxing, and I'm just like go into lizard brain, and it's just daydreaming,
No,
so.
I love that. I feel like you bring up like TV shows and stuff like that too. I feel like with so many like these streaming services now and all these like wonderful shows that people want to get on, you also don't have to watch. Not everything you watch has to be good. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like I think there's something to be said about just watching stuff that people don't respect. That's just for yourself. Because like I feel like people too in this like the social media era always want to like curate their like taste level and stuff. You can have a certain taste level, but I feel like you need a little high low. Like a little prestige TV, and then some stuff that you really wouldn't want the public to know.
You heard it here first. Be less productive and watch complete shit that'll rot your brain.
Life is meaningless. Yeah.
Like, well, couldn't agree more. That'll be our last show. When we finally say that life is completely meaningless. Nothing you heard here has any significance at all. 81% of people say solitaire is good. So that's pretty strong, JD.
There we go.
You know what? Maybe I should give it another try.
Give it another. Don't. You don't need to. The time has passed for solitaire. Alex, when people need help navigating life's biggest decisions, when they're lost, confused at a crossroads, they seek our wise counsel, and we deliver an airtight verdict. It's time to settle this. So, reminder, if you need advice or have found yourself in a quandary or a pickle, email us at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Tell us what's going on. We're going to help you, just like we're about to help this person. Except today, this person is me. I've never submitted my own settle this question, but I had to because something was on my mind. Alex, are you familiar with the singer-songwriter Taylor Swift?
Yes. I am.
Okay.
I'm not a Swiftie, but I definitely have some Taylor Swift songs on my Spotify.
Okay. Burn them to a CD just in case. JD, do you think you could name 3 Taylor Swift songs?
No, I don't. I couldn't.
Okay. Well, okay. Could you name 1 Taylor Swift song?
Yes. We're never getting back together. Is that the name of the song? We are never, ever.
Ever. Yeah, I don't know if... Yes, that's how it goes. I don't know if the name is ever,
yeah,
ever,
I have no
ever.
idea what the name is.
Okay, but you named one.
Okay, yeah.
What about Shake It Off? You've heard that at a wedding show,
yeah,
right?
okay. That's. I didn't know that was Taylor Swift. I've heard that song for sure.
Okay, Trouble? No. Bad Blood?
Sing that one.
No.
Bad Blood.
Stop. I sang like 7 Whitney Houston songs on the last show.
I know. Everyone loved it.
And people loved it. Someone wrote and said they cried. No, they didn't. All right. So Taylor's currently on her sold-out Eras Stadium tour, and it hasn't been without controversy. The controversy over Ticketmaster that left Swifties with verified pre-sale codes unable to buy tickets? No. These controversies are much more contentious and, frankly, much more important. So the first, settle this. Is it inappropriate to twerk at a Taylor Swift concert? So at one of Taylor's recent shows in Arlington, Texas, someone posted a TikTok of a couple. They were sitting near the top of the stadium. They were twerking. My first question is, can a couple twerk? Because every headline I read said the couple was twerking. But all I saw was one woman twerking and a man just standing there as a woman rubbed her butt into his crotch. I think the men are getting credit for doing really shit all. So from insider.com, one user tweeted, Not the time or place to do that. Also, I promise you, no Taylor Swift song should require you to dance like that. Another added, she does not have one song where her fans should be dancing like this. Others noted that the twerking was potentially inappropriate for Swift's younger audience members, while TikTok users joked that they would have called security if they were in attendance. So settle this, Alex. What do you think? Is it okay to twerk at a Taylor Swift concert?
Yeah, definitive yes for me, man. You know,
hell yeah!
I think when you buy a ticket to a concert event, especially because we're literally labeling these fans as Swifties. You know, we live in an era where we have these diehard fan bases of pop singers. Like, I'm not sure what people there expect. Like these are the most diehards of fans, and however they want to express themselves. The excitement of them being there. I think it's totally fine, and I feel like, listen, like, I don't have a lot of dance moves, not known for that, but like I feel like there's a lot of hating too, in the article talking about how like there's no Taylor Swift songs that you can like twerk and dance to. Like that's a very subjective thing, right? Like I'm sure the Swifties would disagree. So that is 100% yes for me. I feel like when you go to a concert and you watch, your favorite singer, you are allowed to express your enthusiasm as you wish.
Well, before we get into the question of if it's inappropriate, just like you were saying, and just like some of these people, these angry TikTok users are saying, there's not a single Taylor Swift song that should require you or inspire you to twerk. So I had to do some independent journalism. I had to get my Glenn Greenwald on, and here are the steps that I took for my independent journalism. Number one, I sent the link of this video to my girlfriend. I said, what song is playing as they're twerking? She said, Ready for It, from Reputation. I said, okay, step two to my investigative journalism. Because as they're twerking in this video, you're hearing the chorus, and it is a very like classic, like high gloss, pop sheen chorus. So yeah, probably not a great twerking song. But then step two in my journey of independent journalism, I listened to the song on Spotify. This song is like a banger. Like it starts with a really distorted bass, and while the chorus might be poppy, the verses are like pure like hip hop inspired. I mean, your mileage may vary as to whether you want to call that hip hop,
right.
But you could absolutely twerk to that song, and that's just one song, JD. I don't know her catalog well enough. So first of all, I would like to say that they're wrong on the facts. But do you think it's inappropriate, JD, to twerk at a Taylor Swift concert?
Absolutely not. I agree with Alex 100%. And as the great Madonna Ciccone once said, express yourself.
Oh,
Also,
Vogue.
Vogue? Yeah. Now, the Madonna songs I can name, but I'm older than dirt. But and the amount of money you're spending on these tickets, yeah. Twerking is a legit dance move, is it not? I mean...
Well, that's the thing. It's like I'd like to tell people that are scandalized by it or think it's bad. It's like Elvis gyrated his hips in like the 50s. And
Yes.
people thought that was too sexual. And guess what? It was sexual. That was the point of it. He was gyrating his hips. When I was a kid, there was a dance so forbidden. It was called the Forbidden Dance, the lambada.
Lambada, yes.
If you don't know what the lambada is, Alex, what song is it sampled in? The da-na-na-na-na,
Yes.
Out on the floor.
What is that?
Pitbull
I'm terrible.
or
I'm
Jennifer
terrible.
Lopez?
It is.
I
I
think
think
the
it-
song titles. Yeah.
Is it Florida? No. It might be Pitbull.
We're gonna have
I
to,
should've
we're
done
gonna
some more
have to fact
independent
check
journalism.
this.
Okay.
I'm still shook. I didn't even know Madonna had a last name. No, I just feel
born
like
Madonna.
I just feel like there's just a lot of hating going on right now. Like fundamentally,
There's a lot of hating.
this whole thing is basically telling people to not be excited when they're at a concert. Like I actually
Right.
don't understand the premise of that.
Okay, well, let's get further into it with the second settle this question. Settle this. Is it inappropriate to scream loudly at a concert? So Insider.com has all your Taylor Swift controversy news. The headline says, a TikTok of a Taylor Swift fan screaming at her concert has divided viewers. Critics called the behavior entitled, while others defended it. So we're about to see TikToker Sophie Bradley, who captioned this video. The last time I saw Taylor on tour, the mom next to us asked if we could calm down because we were scaring her 7-year-old. See you tomorrow, Taylor Swift. I feel bad for whoever is next to me. So let's see how loud this screaming was, JD. So when I just read the headline, I was like, okay, how bad could this be? Then I listened to it. I was like, okay, I have to admit this is very loud. But I mean, is it inappropriate to scream at a concert to show I'm here, I'm excited, I'm trying to connect with you and the artist? Is that inappropriate now, Alex?
Yeah, once again, as a somewhat respected journalist, like, I'm gonna need to do a little, investigation on this, because what we heard was a 10-second clip, right? So you tell me that this fan that was there, was she screaming during like the entire 2-hour set, or was she just excited during this portion of the song? Again, it's an expression of enthusiasm, and based on the video that I saw, she is up close, right? We're talking about row 1, row 2. Again, if you're going to a Taylor Swift concert and you're gonna be in the pit, like, right in front of the stage, I'm not sure what you expect these fans to do. Like, this is the diehards of most diehards. So I will say, though, overall, screaming should be allowed. But if this lady was screaming for the whole 2-hour set, that's a different thing. But if she was just getting excited for a little bit there, I'm completely fine with that.
JD, what do you think about screaming at a show? Is it appropriate? Now, keep in mind that screaming did stop the Beatles from performing live before you answer this question.
Yeah, it should be allowed. It should be encouraged. And that, I believe that was in Toronto, that show, the Maple Leaf Gardens show, where they could not hear the band because of screaming. This is the Beatles I'm talking about.
God, of course, you are old.
I was there, man. I was working the door. Now, but no, that's the artist wants to hear how excited you are as a fan. And that particular fan was, as Alex said, so close that Taylor probably heard her, right? So that's even more incentive for her to scream her head off. Now, again, if she's doing it for the entire show, that's a problem. But also, for those tickets, what's that, $2,500? I mean, scream your head off, man. Like,
well, JD, at Tell the Bees on TikTok. God, how deep did I go into this?
Deep.
My brain is rotting. Now, this is my mindless activity. He responded to that video, and he said, you either go one of two ways, right? You say, I paid my money, so I'm allowed to behave however I want. Or you say, we are living in a society with mutually agreed upon set of norms and mores. You understand that there's an appropriate way to behave when you're surrounded by people who also paid $500. But it's like your level of fun and comfort is superseding everyone else around you. So, I don't know. Two ways to look at it. I kind of agree. Scream all you want. That's the whole point of going to a show. You got to be a good, buttoned-up girl in your daily life, but when you go to that concert, that's your time to let go and be carefree and not self-conscious. But then our final related settle this question. Is it inappropriate to sing too loud at a concert? I can't believe this would be a question. Again, from Insider.com. Shout out to Insider.com, doing all the important work. This headline says, a resurfaced TikTok of a Billie Eilish show is contributing to an ongoing debate about concert etiquette, as a fan's enthusiasm drowned out the singer. We're not going to play this for you because it's a little kind of hard to hear unless you're also watching at the same time. But there's a fan someone's filming Billie Eilish at a concert, and someone next to them that they don't know is singing along. Again, this is a classic. I was like, how bad could this be? Then I listened. What makes it bad to me is not how loud they are, but how much they're embellishing. Like, yeah. if Billie Eilish is going, I'm the bad guy, the person there is going, God, I mean, I'm not really exaggerating that much. Like, they're doing all these kind of trills and like sort of overly expressive singing. So, Alex, what do you think about this one? Do you think it's possible for someone to be singing too loud?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to draw the line on this one, especially after you described it. I think singing along, and for me, as I mentioned, going to a lot of hip hop shows, kind of rapping along to the shows and stuff. I think that's part of the experience, right? But if you are saying that the person in question that is singing is trying to become the main character of the show, and kind of overcoming the actual artist, then I will have to draw the line. And it's so funny, like when I saw this topic, I was trying to think of like, the last like 3 concerts, last couple concerts that I've been to, and the list is so funny. I went to a Cameron show right before the pandemic, and then it was a Wu-Tang and Nas show, and then recently I watched the GZA from Wu-Tang, and I was able to watch him play chess in the VIP room in the back with like people, which was like, again, I'm just trying to make sure people know that I'm old, and I'm stuck in a particular era. But I thought of that Cameron show because we were there, my buddy and I, we were a little bit older, and we were there with hanging out with a bunch of these younger kids, right, who obviously did not grow up with Cameron, with Dipset and all that music. And when Cameron came out and did all his hits, me and my buddy were just rapping to every song, you know, just having a blast. And I remember the kids next to me pointing at us and be like, "Yo, holy shit, these guys were alive when these songs came out." And I had never felt so old in my life. But all that to say, if
you're like, shut up, kids. Yeah. I don't want to miss a single oh boy in oh boy.
The problem with rapping along to like, Cameron especially too, is like there's so many inappropriate lyrics where you just gotta like take a step back once in a while type. Right. But like all that is to say, that is literally like the joy of being at these shows, right? Like when you hear a song that like you've loved growing up, or you know, you hear an artist, but like, so I'm drawing the line though. I'm drawing the line. Like, don't be excessive about it. You know, let's make it kind of a communal experience, and that's where that's where it's appropriate for me.
Okay, so if I'm keeping score, we've settled that you could scream loudly at a concert. You can not sing along at a concert. And somehow I already forgot the first. Oh yes, you can twerk. Twerk away.
Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, Billie Eilish sings a little too quiet. Okay. So you can't.
JD, no, we can't. We can't get these people upset at us. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to edit that out.
I'm saying that she's a quiet singer. So as a Billie Eilish fan, you should know not to sing along with Billie Eilish. That's all.
Oh, okay, right. You're saying out of respect for her, for the craft.
Yeah, she sings too quiet for us to be belting out diva-like, along with is it Bad Boy? Bad Man?
It's definitely not. It's definitely Bad Guy, but
Bad Guy. That's it.
I'm glad you're such a fan. All right, Alex, it's time for the Is This Good segment where everything is bad. Now this one's for the Patreon sickos only, the P-hounds. To subscribe to Patreon, go to patreon.com/isthisgood, and you too can hear the full episode. It's time to pick your poison. Shout out to the P-hounds. To subscribe to Patreon, go to patreon.com/isthisgood. And you too can hear the full episode. You can hear about typewriters and sending nudes and Martin Shkreli and try to figure out without hearing it what those 3 things have in common. You never will until you subscribe. All right, Alex, there's only one thing left to do, and that's play subjective trivia. So subjective trivia is just like regular trivia, except only I know the answer. So, as we said earlier, Taylor Swift's on her Eras tour, and industry insiders say that when it's all said and done, it will very likely be in the top 5 highest grossing tours of all time. But it's not there yet. So, JD, if you could put up what the current top 5 highest grossing tours are, I'll take you through them quickly. At number 1, so we're going from most to least, Elton John's Farewell Yellow Brick Road Tour. This was from 2018. Number 2, Ed Sheeran's Divide Tour, 2017. And number 3, U2's 360 Tour. This was started in 2009. At number 4, Guns N' Roses' Not in This Lifetime Tour. That's from 2016. And at number 5, the Rolling Stones' A Bigger Bang Tour. That was from 2005. So these are all pretty recent. Mm-hmm. Like I said, Taylor is probably, I think people say, going to surpass the Stones, I believe. So the question is, which of these would be the best show? And before you answer, out of curiosity, did anyone go to any of these tours?
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually did go to an Elton John
show.
Yeah, so I probably saw this tour when he came around in Toronto. This would have been before the pandemic. But I'm not familiar I know all these people, but I don't really listen to Ed Sheeran. Guns N' Roses, not very familiar with their work. Rolling Stones as well. U2 had a running joke growing up. I always confused U2 and Oasis, but I've been able to make the classification of their songs now. But yeah, Elton John is the one out of these 5 that that actually went to this tour.
Okay. First of all, you would hate Guns N' Roses because Use Your Illusion was on 2 CDs. Okay, so that you'd have to keep swapping.
Oh man, the double disc. Oh man,
it was a double disc. So you're going Elton John. That's. I was curious if anyone had been to any of these. You have. So obviously that's where your bias lies. JD, what do you think? Looking at these 5.
I have not been to any of these shows. Lincoln did go to the Atlanta show of the Elton John show recently. Like a couple of months ago. Said it was the best show he'd ever seen.
Wow.
He's 16, but still, I'm very, very confident that your answer is Elton John. I would go to all of these, to be honest. I'm not a big arena guy. I like smaller venues, so and I also like paying under $200 for shows that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. So you're never going to a show again?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Basically, yeah. I've come to terms with that.
Maybe you could sell that typewriter to get some pocket change.
But yeah, I think you're going Elton John.
Okay, so just going through these, I've never seen Guns N' Roses or Ed Sheeran live. No, not that I have any interest in seeing Ed Sheeran live. I saw the Rolling Stones at SARS-Stock. Shout out to SARS-Stock in Toronto.
Oh my
I saw
God.
U2 in an arena at on their Elevation tour. So that was my second choice. They are still younger than, well, certainly the Rolling Stones and Elton John. I think they're going to give it a little more oomph, a little more juice. Mm-hmm. But I did not go with U2. The correct answer is, and you both got it right, Elton John!
Yes.
Because it is his last tour, but just beyond that, like a deep, deep catalog with a ton of amazing songs, somehow makes sitting down behind a piano exciting. And I saw, I forget which streaming service was showing one of his concerts at the at Dodger Stadium, because I think his concert in Dodger Stadium, I don't know if it was 70s or 80s, but it was one of his huge shows. So they broadcast that one, and like I said, it's the farewell tour. Though, is it?
Is it?
Is it, Elton? You better not be lying, or else I'm gonna go in and edit this out, and I'm gonna say U2. Okay, that's the threat that I'm giving you. All right, well, that was Subjective Trivia. That's the show. Alex, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you? Where can people read you? Where can people buy your books?
Yeah. Just, follow me on Twitter, Steven_LeBron. On IG is Steven LeBron. Make sure you subscribe to The Raptor Show with Will Liu. Will and I are on that, all throughout the season, during the off season. And, if you're looking for prehistoric, I believe if you look up prehistoric at these book sites, Amazon and all these places, it's already up for pre-order, but look for the promo tour across every single podcast, including all the ones that the two of you are involved in, coming in October. And I just want to say thanks again to both of you for having me on.
Oh, no problem. It's our pleasure. And if you are looking for prehistoric and you can't find it, just look for the book cover that is so bad that you cannot believe that it was even printed. And I just shoot straight. I've seen it. I've actually seen the cover, and I've seen that person's work. Just actually from looking it up from your stuff, Alex, and it looks super cool. So definitely check that out when it comes out. If you have topics, tweet to me at StartersMatt. Email us at isthisgoodpod@gmail.com. Remember to rate us on Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. Thanks for listening. Thanks to JD. Thanks to Alex. Thanks in advance for leaving a 5-star review. For everyone, I'm Matt Austin, and this was good. We'll see you next week.